The air crackled with excitement, laughter echoed through the bar. We were finally together again, my friends and I, reunited after months apart. Life had scattered us, but tonight we were whole. We reminisced about old times, our voices growing louder with each shared memory. Drinks flowed freely. Laughter turned to giddy abandon. The music pulsed, urging us to move, to lose ourselves in the moment. As the night deepened, we moved from bar to club, chasing the fading light. We were invincible, young and carefree. The world outside ceased to exist. Only our bubble of joy remained. We were riding a wave of euphoria, oblivious to the shadows lurking at the edges of our revelry. The night was young, full of promise. We were determined to wring every last drop of joy from it. Note in the symphony of our revelry. The insistent chirping of my phone dragged me from slumber. A blinding headache pulsed behind my eyes. My mouth tasted like a desert, and the world swam before me. Groaning, I fumbled for my phone. A barrage of messages flooded the screen, all from my friends, all filled with a frantic urgency that pierced through the fog of my hangover. "Where are you?" one message screamed. "Call me as soon as possible," demanded another. Each message amplified the growing unease in my gut. Something was terribly wrong. Their words crackled with a fear that transcended typical post-party anxiety. I tried to recall the events of the previous night, but my memory was a shattered mirror, reflecting only fragmented images. I stumbled out of bed, each movement sending a fresh wave of nausea through me. The room spun gently, adding to the disorientation that clouded my mind as I struggled to piece together the previous night's events. A chilling realization dawned on me. We had been separated. The last clear memory I had was of our group, huddled together in a dimly lit corner of a club. The air had been thick with smoke and the scent of spilled alcohol. And then, nothing. The messages from my friends confirmed my fears. They had all gotten separated at some point during the night. None of them could remember how or when. And then there was the most unsettling detail of all. One of us was missing, Liam, our friend, the life of the party, the one who always kept us laughing. His messages were conspicuously absent from the flurry of frantic texts. A cold dread settled in my stomach. Section 5. Disturbing reflections. I called my friends one by one, each conversation adding to the growing sense of dread. We compared notes, desperately trying to assemble the puzzle pieces of the previous night. But the more we talked, the more we realized that something was terribly wrong. Our memories were fragmented, distorted. They were like reflections in a funhouse mirror, twisted and unreliable. We all remembered feeling a strange presence, a coldness that seeped into our bones as the night wore on. Then there were the gaps, black holes in our memories where entire chunks of time had vanished. It was as if someone had taken a pair of scissors to our recollections, snipping away the most terrifying parts and the reflections. Everywhere we looked, we saw glimpses of something unsettling in the reflective surfaces around us, fleeting shadows, distorted faces, and a pair of piercing eyes that seemed to follow our every move. Section 6. The Vanishing Act. Liam was gone, vanished without a trace. We retraced our steps, visiting each bar and club we had been to, desperately searching for any sign of him. But it was like chasing ghosts. The bartenders didn't remember seeing him. The bouncers had no recollection of him leaving, and the security cameras, as fate would have it, were either malfunctioning or conveniently pointed in the wrong direction. The more we investigated, the more we realized that we were dealing with something beyond our comprehension. Something sinister had woven its way into our night of revelry, something that had taken Liam and left us with nothing but fragmented memories and a chilling sense of dread. As the hours ticked by, hope began to dwindle. The police were dismissive. writing Liam's disappearance off as another case of a young man partying too hard. But we knew better. Something was terribly wrong, and we were determined to find out what happened to our friend. Section 7. Echoes in the emptiness. We returned to the last club we remembered being at, a cavernous space that felt even more ominous in the harsh light of day. The air hung heavy with the stale scent of spilled beer and forgotten dreams. As we walked through the empty club, we couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of fabric sent shivers down our spines. It was then that we heard it, a faint sound, like a whisper carried on the wind. It seemed to emanate from the depths of the club, beckoning us deeper into the shadows. We exchanged nervous glances, our hearts pounding in unison. The rational part of our minds screamed at us to turn back, to run as fast as we could. But something drew us forward, some unseen force that compelled us to uncover the truth, no matter how terrifying it might be. The whisper led us to a door hidden behind a tattered velvet curtain. It was locked, but the flimsy handle gave way with a groan. As we stepped inside, a wave of cold air washed over us, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of decay. The room was small and windowless, illuminated only by a single flickering light bulb. Dust motes danced in the stale air and cobwebs clung to every surface, and in the center of the room, scrawled across the wall in what appeared to be dried blood, was a single word: run. A primal fear gripped us. We had stumbled upon something ancient and evil, something that had been lurking in the shadows, waiting for us to let our guard down. We were in over our heads and we knew it. But we couldn't turn back now, not without Liam. We had come too far, seen too much. We owed it to our friend, to ourselves, to see this through to the end. As we stood frozen in terror, our eyes fell upon a small, glinting object in the corner of the room. It was Liam's phone, its screen cracked but still faintly illuminated. With trembling hands, I picked it up. The battery life was low, but it was just enough. There on the screen was a single video file. We huddled together, our breaths catching in our throats as I pressed play. The video was dark, shaky, and filled with static. But through the grainy footage, we could make out Liam's terrified face. He was whispering into the camera, his words barely audible above the pounding music and the roar of the crowd. "I can't find you," he gasped. "I think something's following me." "It's in the reflections, it's..." The video cut out abruptly, leaving us with more questions than answers. But one thing was clear: Liam had seen something that terrified him to his core, and whatever it was still out there. We spent the next few days desperately trying to decipher the clues Liam had left behind. We scoured every inch of the club, interviewed countless witnesses, and chased down every dead end. But the more we learned, the more we realized the terrifying truth. We had stumbled into something ancient and evil, something that existed beyond the realm of our understanding. Our research led us to obscure texts, ancient rituals, and forgotten lore. We learned of creatures that lurked in the shadows, feeding on fear and despair. Creatures that could manipulate reflections, twist perceptions, and steal away the unwary. And we knew, deep down, that Liam had become another victim of these malevolent beings. He was gone, lost to a darkness that we could barely comprehend. The police never found Liam. The official investigation went cold, chalked up to another missing persons case, but we knew the truth. We had seen the evidence with our own eyes. And the worst part was, it wasn't over. The feeling of being watched never went away. The fleeting glimpses in the mirror, the whispers in the dark, the lingering sense of dread, it followed us everywhere. We were haunted by the knowledge of what lurked in the shadows, by the realization that our world was not as safe as we once believed. The night of revelry had become a night of terror, a night that would forever bind us together in fear. The terror wasn't over, it had only just begun.